Imagine a body buried under brambles for decades, and then a whisper in the wind, a ghostly clue, leads scientists to a name. 30 years later, DNA opened a door that should have stayed locked. Who, or what, was guiding those scientists? Stay tuned. No long intro. Let's go straight in. October 1995. On the outskirts of a small rural town called Crosswell, a teenage girl named Mara Whitlock vanishes. Her family reports her missing after she fails to return home one Sunday evening. Weeks go by. Then, 6 months later, a hiker stumbles on skeletal remains deep in the woods. Local police identify them as Mara's, but there's almost nothing left. No clear signs of trauma, no witnesses, no suspects. Decades pass. The case goes cold. Evidence files fade. But then, in 2024, a breakthrough: DNA. More than that, something else. Tonight, we peel back the layers of cold files, new truths. A case that was supposed to be unsolvable, a truth that no one saw coming. Chapter 1. The girl and the vanishing *. Mara Whitlock was 16 when she disappeared. Bright, curious, a little restless. She lived with her mother, Claire, and younger brother, Nate, in Crosswell, a quiet farming town where everyone knows everyone. That Sunday evening, she told her mom she was going to walk the old railroad tracks behind town to think. She never said why. Late at night, when she didn't return, her mother was frantic. The police mounted a search but found nothing. Interviews with friends revealed she'd been acting a bit strange, withdrawn, claiming she had seen something in the woods at night. Some thought she was imagining things, maybe a touch of teenage angst. No one took it seriously. But what if she wasn't imagining? What if she was seeing something real? Chapter 2. The discovery in the woods. * 6 months later, a hiker named Alan Rivers was exploring old trails when his foot struck something. He crouched, pushed aside branches, and saw bone. Underneath leaf litter and decayed branches lay skeletal remains. He called police. When officers arrived, they found a skull, leg bones, spine, skeletal remains too decayed to show clear cause of death. Clothing fragments suggested teenage female attire. Dental records matched Mara's profile. The death was ruled homicide, though how and by whom were lost to time. The police preserved what they could: fragments of skull, a few pieces of bone, some fibers, and an old locket found nearby with no name inside. The investigation went stale. No DNA analysis possible with 1995 technology. Leads dried up. Locals whispered rumors. Some said she fell victim to a drifter. Others murmured about something supernatural stalking the woods. The townsfolk would tell you the forest around Crosswell was old, haunted in rumor. Chapter 3. The cold case. Dormant * from 1995 to roughly 2010, the case lay in drawers. The county sheriff's office changed bureaucratic hands. Records got boxed, and some evidence was misplaced. Claire Whitlock, Mara's mother, never gave up. She made pleas, held vigils, and hired private investigators. But nothing stuck. In the mid-2000s, Claire reported odd happenings. Doors slamming in her home, lights flickering, glimpses in mirrors. Something she believed was her daughter's spirit trying to speak. The new sheriff dismissed it as grief, but Claire kept the faith. When modern cold case units arose, units with advanced criminology, forensic science, and DNA labs, Mara's file was reopened. But for years, nothing new emerged. The bones were too degraded, the sample too scant. Until 2023. Chapter 4. The DNA breakthrough * by 2023, DNA sequencing technology had advanced leaps. Next-generation sequencing could work with degraded samples, reconstructing partial genomes from minimal fragments. The cold case unit sent bone fragments to a state lab specializing in ancient DNA. They extracted minute DNA strands and built a genetic profile. That profile was run through genealogical databases, not for a criminal match, but for relatives. That's when the shocking breakthrough came. A partial match turned up in a distant branch of a family tree. Someone who shared enough markers to be a third cousin. The detectives, genealogists, and forensic scientists traced that branch. Then they sent targeted DNA samples from living descendants. Those descendants Unwitting participants submitted cheek swabs. Finally, they got a near-perfect match. The killer was a man named Jonas Crane, now age 63, living in a neighboring county. He was never on the original investigators' radar, but here's where things get strange. Chapter 5. The investigators' unease. Detective Anya Bowers, assigned to the reopened case, reviewed Crane's history. No known violent crimes, but a string of odd arrests decades ago: vandalism, trespassing, animal cruelty. He was a drifter, lived in and out of town, and was known to wander the forest at night. Records showed he'd once trespassed near the same woods where Mara's body was found. Yet there was no confession, no fingerprint, no witness. Just this DNA reveal. Anya asked, how could this man, who'd stayed invisible for 30 years, have gone undetected? She sensed that the case itself was dragging up something else, something old and hidden. The more she dug, the more the forest seemed to push back. Chapter 6. Strange clues emerge. Fingerprints were reanalyzed. The locket found at the scene was retested under enhanced imaging. Some faint initials were etched inside. MW, clearly for Mara. More startling, along with those initials, a faint symbol, like an ancient rune, odd curves reminiscent of occult marks, etched deep in the metal. No known significance to modern police. Anya showed this to a parapsychologist consultant, Dr. Celine Hart, who specialized in folklore and supernatural traces. Celine gasped when she saw the rune. This is a protective symbol, a ward, something you'd use to keep a spirit or something else at bay. She explained, in old European traditions, wards like that were carved or worn to safeguard the dead or living from restless spirits or demonic influence. Anya scoffed, until she began experiencing odd things. Cold drafts where none should be, audio distortion in interviews, and cameras glitching. The deeper she went, the more she felt watched. Chapter 7. Jonas Crane, the man behind the DNA. Investigators covertly surveilled Crane. He lived in a dilapidated farmhouse at the edge of the woods, rarely leaving at night. His neighbors recall strange activity. At night, lights in the attic, sometimes flickering, distant chants or whispers. Many kept away. A search warrant was granted. Inside the house, they found odd artifacts, dried herbs, cryptic symbols scrawled on walls, animal bones, ritual drawings. Most chilling, Mara's missing locket, matching the one from the scene, hidden in a locked strongbox. Confronted by detectives, Crane denied everything. He claimed he'd found the locket years ago and kept it as a curiosity. He claimed not to have killed Mara. He said he couldn't explain the drawings. He was arrested, but prosecutors worried. Would a jury believe evidence from a ritualistic scene and supernatural overtones? Meanwhile, the ward symbol on the locket was found fresh, almost as if someone or something re-etched it in recent years. Chapter 8. The supernatural threat. As the case went to court, anomalies occurred. In the evidence room, someone reported flickering shadows passing before cameras. The locket's etching would fade when left in sunlight, then reappear at night. Phylogenetic testing of the DNA samples revealed something odd. Stomping grounds in non-human segments, junk. DNA markers that didn't match any known human lineage. The lab wasn't confident. They called it noise. But Dr. Hart insisted, it's more than noise. At one pre-trial evidence hearing, one of the jurors fainted unexpectedly, claiming she saw a young girl's face in the courtroom mirror, bloodied, pleading. Security cameras caught nothing. The juror insisted the spirit of Mara visited her to demand justice. Some in the town whispered, Mara's ghost refused to rest. She sought resolution, and in doing so, she guided the DNA, whispered in labs, pushed investigators to look deeper. Anya began to believe. She'd had her own experience. One night in the lab, alone late, she felt a cold hand on her shoulder. She spun. No one was there. A whisper, find him. The lights flickered. Chapter 9. Trial and turmoil. The trial of Jonas Crane drew national attention because of supernatural rumors. In court, prosecutors laid out the DNA connection, genealogical evidence, the locket provenance, the ritual artifacts linking him to occult behavior, his history of forest trespass, and motive speculation. Defense tried to discredit the DNA, calling it corrupted. and claimed the occult items were decoys or delusions. During a key moment, the locket was passed to the courtroom. At that instant, the courtroom lights dimmed and the temperature dropped markedly. Several spectators shivered. The defense objected. The judge demanded a recess to check the wiring. When the lights returned, the locket's symbol seemed more vivid. One of Crane's witnesses, a local folklorist, testified that many haunted places use wards to protect spirits. The ward etched inside the locket may have been meant to protect Mara or to bind something to her. Maybe someone else forced the symbol after her death. The case hinged on interpretation. A single juror refused to convict or acquit. He claimed he'd seen her face in the reflection during the locket's displayed in deliberations. Jurors reported odd occurrences: cold drafts in the jury room, distant sobbing, pens scribbling by themselves. One juror even claimed to feel nails dragging across her skin. The jury emerged unable to reach a unanimous verdict. A hung jury. The trial was a bust. Crane went free on bail pending retrial. The case looked like a failure. Chapter 10. New Truths. Renewed investigation. Defeated but undeterred, Anya Bowers and Dr. Hart convened late one evening in the lab. On the table, the bone fragments, the locket, the symbols, etched layers. Hart said, "We need to go supernatural and scientific." Side by side, they proposed a radical approach. Use spirit-augmented investigation, contact with Mara's spirit via medium, combined with forensic re-examination. The prosecutor agreed, secretly, to refile. They brought in Elias Cortez, a cautious medium with experience in cold cases. He came to the lab at midnight, with low lights, cameras rolling. The medium sat beside Mara's bone fragments, asked permission, and gave Mara a voice. Find him. Make him pay. At first, nothing. Then the lab's water cooler rattled. The computer screen flickered. Elias's pen flew and traced cryptic symbols matching the rune in the locket. He spoke. She's near you. The answer lies in the forest floor, where the roots twist. He pointed at a map of the woods, a location marked in an unseen glade near an old creek bed. Simultaneously, forensic scientists microscanned the bone fragments and discovered faint trace mineral soil samples embedded in the bone that matched the exact glade area. It was never searched in 1995. Night after night, Mara's spirit appeared to Elias, a face glowing in the darkness, whispers directing them deeper. One night, Elias collapsed mid-session, gasping. He hid her body under a stone circle carved into the forest floor, beneath roots. He sketched the layout. Armed with this, Anya, Hart, and a team organized a covert dig at the marked glade under a full moon. They unearthed what had been missed: fragments of clothing, hair, bone shards. Shards of a jewelry chain matching another necklace Mara wore, never recovered. And bits of ritual residue: ashes, salt circles, chalk. The pattern was clear. The killer had performed some ritual over the body, then sealed it under forest debris. The DNA from the new bone shards matched Mara and consolidated the profile. The residue was analyzed for traces of rare salts that mapped to minerals only found in that forest bed. Confronted with these, Crane's defense was unraveling. He withdrew bail, tried to move towns, but the pressure closed in. Chapter 11. The hidden motive. With the evidence mounting, Anya and Dr. Hart reconstructed the motive. They discovered that years before Mara disappeared, Crane had grown obsessed with local occult lore. He believed that capturing a spirit of purity in ritual might grant power or immortality. Town records showed Crane visited the old church cemetery near Crosswell, studied an ancient grimoire referencing spirit binding. They located a hidden journal in Crane's belongings. He wrote of wanting to trap Mara's spirit, to hold it, and use it as a conduit to some other realm. He described carving the ward in the locket, binding it to her soul, burying her body in a circle so she couldn't escape. But something failed. She tormented him in dreams, nearly drove him insane. He removed the locket, hid it, fled, changed names, moved away, but the link remained. Crane's confession was coerced under psychological pressure, under surveillance. Cameras even recorded him muttering, "She won't rest. She's coming." His voice quavered. He claimed he never meant to kill her. He only meant to bind her. But a struggle ensued. She screamed, and he panicked. The jury retrial, held in 2025, was set. The prosecution presented DNA continuity, genealogical match, the ritual evidence, Crane's journal confession, the supernatural disturbances documented in court, and eyewitness anomalies from jurors. The defense tried to cast doubt on paranormal claims, DNA contamination, and Crane's mental illness. Chapter 12. The verdict and aftermath *. The jury deliberated over 2 days. During those days, jurors reported more disturbances, cold spots in jury rooms, lights flickering, faint crying in hallways. Some even requested therapy. But in the end, Crane was found guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to life without parole. He maintained a hollow stare in court. At sentencing, as the judge read the verdict, one juror whispered that she saw Mara's face glint in the reflective courtroom glass. Nodding, Anya Bowers and Dr. Hart stood outside the courthouse. The case was closed. The locals breathed a collective sigh of relief. Claire Whitlock wept, fainted in her daughter's empty room. Yet, not all was calm. Chapter 13. The Ripple Beyond * 2 weeks after the verdict, a strange thing happened. The locket, in police archives, recorded faint scratch marks overnight. The ward's symbol glowed ever so faintly in the dark. The air in the archives room grew cold. The camera footage cut out at exactly 3:13 a.m. Claire Whitlock claimed she saw Mara in her mirror at the cracked frame's edge with a gentle smile. "Thank you," she whispered. Then it vanished. Detective Bowers got a mysterious letter and signed. Inside, a small scrap of paper with the same rune carved. A single word, "Watch." Dr. Hart received an envelope the same day. Photos of other cold case files, symbols drawn next to them. Names scribbled that matched unsolved disappearances in adjacent counties. That IT seemed the supernatural thread didn't end with Mara. There was a network, other spirits, other bindings, old rituals long buried, and whoever was behind them had just been awakened. Mara's spirit may rest now or only lie dormant. Jonas Crane is behind bars, but the ethereal realm is vast, and the wards may loosen in our next episode. Bound by secrets, the haunted rituals behind 3 disappearances. You'll meet new vanished people, new supernatural evidence, and a deeper conspiracy that spans decades. If you've ever felt there's more to a crime than meets the eye, if shadows whisper and DNA isn't final, join me again. Subscribe now, hit the bell, and dive into the Cold File series. If you like this story, leave a comment. Which detail surprised you the most? Don't just watch, be part of it. Let's dig deeper, together. See you in the next case.